Our Storm, following a historic loss, were able to put things in a much closer light than that season opener against the Las Vegas Aces. They welcomed the Dallas Wings to town, playing the second of 3 games at home to begin the season. A 4-point loss, not a 41, so big difference. May 26th versus the Wings, a 91-95 loss. Our player of the game, Jewel Lloyd, once again at the shooting guard position, 30 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and a career high for a game, 3 blocks. This was a tough one. Once again, just like the Aces game, Seattle started out hot with Yvonne Turner running the point. Mercedes Russell was getting some nice play in the paint. And then I mentioned the paint. And then once again, the Storm just it's like pain. They're getting beat inside historically. Through, I believe, the first quarter, the Storm were on pace to give up 72 points in the paint. They're just getting beat bad in the paint. And I wonder why. I mean, she didn't get any minutes in this last game. Why you're not putting Dulcie Fanka-Mengiadu in, to get some minutes as one of the bigs. You know, I don't see why that would be the case. It's no slight necessarily on Ezi Magbagor or Mercedes Russell, but I don't think it would hurt to try something, especially considering the fact that you're in a new era with this Storm team. Give these players chances to develop. Get some Jade Melbourne in there more. You know, she didn't get, I don't think, any minutes in this game against Dallas. Dulcie didn't get any either. So that I don't necessarily agree with. I get it was a tight game. I feel like you could have done that, though, in the second and third quarter. You know, Seattle had to claw back into this one late. With 3 minutes left, they were down by 11 points, and I was kind of thinking they might be out of it. But they had some players step up along the way. Kia Nurse had a big game in this one after only playing 3 minutes in the second half of the season opener. Arella Girantes had a huge fourth quarter, I'd argue. She was in for most of the key moments in that game. Sammy Whitcomb hit a couple big shots down the stretch after being cold to begin the game. Jewel Lloyd is Jewel Lloyd. I mean, watching Jewel Lloyd play basketball is a treat. But it was a tough ending. It was a tough ending because Dallas had missed a shot on their end with plenty of time left for Seattle to get up a final shot. The Storm could not get that final rebound, and it went right to Satu Sabali, who put the ball back up for a quick 2 and to extend that lead. And then on the Storm inbound with, I believe it was like a second and tenths left, the inbound went into the paint where Ezi Magbagor and a few other Storm players weren't looking at it, and it bounced right off of Ezi's head. It was like a bad joke. And the Storm lost that one. So it was tough. Again, it's going to be a long season. I don't expect the Storm to win many games at all. But to show the fight that they did in this one, to display that they probably could have won this game had it been, it seemed like they just ran out of time. Obviously, their presence in the paint has to be better, whether they actually won the rebound battle in this game. So I can't, be upset about rebounding, but points in the paint's a different thing. They're getting beat inside, and they're not getting anything inside on the other end of the court. So that's something for them to look forward to. But I could only wonder how many times our player of the game is going to be Jewel Lloyd this season. I'm going to start counting. This is 2 games out of 40 so far. So we'll see that throughout the course of the year. In team-related news for our Storm here, this is an interesting one. It's kind of been back and forth. Will she, won't she? Will we get some clarity sort of thing? We haven't really. On the 22nd, the Gabby Williams saga continues. Williams is unsure about playing in the WNBA after there was just so much back and forth. So this report came out on the 22nd, as I mentioned. Kevin Pelton, a senior writer at ESPN, quote, restricted free agent Gabby Williams has yet to decide whether to play in the WNBA this season after having her contract suspended by French club Asvel prior to the deadline set by the league's new prioritization rule, according to her agent. It's an option for Gabby, her agent says. For now, she's prioritizing her health while taking into account her French national team commitments this summer. From there, we can start to evaluate availability for the WNBA, but as of today, we are still a couple steps away. Now, that's interesting for a couple reasons, and this whole Williams situation is interesting because a friend of mine put this situation and this potential scenario into my head. Obviously, this season for the Storm isn't going well, and it probably won't go very well. But what if the case is, Williams is a good player. Williams, we've seen that athletic, defensively, showed some good games last year on the offensive side of the ball when she clicks. But she's not a transformational player. This isn't a Brianna Stewart that's going to, completely swing this team around. And that's not necessarily a slight against Gabby. It's just arguable truth. So if she were to come back this year, it wouldn't necessarily make too much of a difference. And it might cut into it's not as easy for her to get ready for her French national team responsibilities if she was over here as compared to being overseas right now. The scenario is, what if Gabby waits till next year when Seattle's got that number 1 overall pick, whether that be a Caitlin Clark or somebody. They've got that number 1 overall pick, and they have better chances next year with, maybe they get another free agent. And Williams is able to come then for an actual good team, arguably, after having, being able to play with the French national team and not having the WNBA season this year stick with contrast with that. So we're saying this on May 29th of 2023. If this comes true next year, I don't know, we'll celebrate it somehow. But it was an interesting scenario, and it honestly made a lot of sense to me when I heard it, so I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility. So anyway, we won't talk about ifs, ands, or buts. We'll move forward with our Storm here, who have 2 games over the course of the next week, and they're not going to be any easier than what the Storm have had to deal with earlier in the season. Seattle sits at an 0-2 record right now, and they're at the bottom of the Western Conference. Their next game tomorrow, June 30th, is against these New York Liberty, who are the second of the 2 super teams in the league. And Seattle will have had to play both of them within their first 3 games of the regular season. That game is at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Let me make sure I get you the broadcast schedule for that, so I don't just sit here and give you. Oh, that's not helpful. We'll get you where to watch this game against the Liberty, because this is obviously a big battle. Brianna Stewart's coming back to Seattle for the first time since leaving the team. This one's on ESPN2. Okay, that makes that easy. And then, so the second game of the week for the Storm is on June 3rd at the LA Sparks, who the team played in the preseason and got a win against. So the only win, if we're including preseason, that the Storm have gotten this year have come against the Sparks. So maybe they can do that again on the 3rd. June 3rd at the Sparks, a 7 o'clock tip. That's on the CBS Sports Network, Fox 13 Plus, and Amazon Prime Video, which if you're in the state of Washington, you can just watch it on Amazon Prime Video. Makes it easy. So we'll do that.